Spoilers! There's no crazy plot twist type spoilers, but I'm going to be saying things about this thing. You have been warned! Guess who woke up at 5 in the morning so she could catch the train to Toronto on time? Because she scored tickets to the press screening of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. I'll give you a hint. It's me. If you just want to skip over me fangirling about TMNT and just want to skip to me talking about the actual movie, click on Donatello here. It's not like he's my favorite. All I'm saying is that every mission that the Turtles went on would probably just end in all of them going, well, what are we gonna do now, guys? If it wasn't for Donnie just being like, do you guys need to sit down? Like, I got this. But he's not my favorite or anything. Yeah. So I have a friend who's a film critic and he gets a lot of early tickets to movies and junk, and I told him months ago, if you get a +1 to a screening of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and I'm not that +1, I can't see how our friendship could continue on from that point. I threatened him with my companionship, is what happened. Going into this movie, I was prepared for it to suck. I think that may just be because I have trust issues when it comes to adaptations of things I love now. Thanks, M. Night Shyamalan. But I was also like super excited. There were boy children at this press screening that were not fangirling half as hard as me. You know, sometimes I think I have my life together and then I realize that I'm obsessed with a TV show marketed towards 10-year-old boys. I'm the female version of a brony. The way I thought this movie was going to be for me was like a YouTube video where a guy gets hit in the nuts. Painful to watch, makes me go, but I'm still gonna watch it 50 million more times and find enjoyment from it, even if I feel a little bit bad about it. And the only enjoyment I thought I would find from it was actually getting to see my turtles on the big screen. I kept on thinking to myself throughout the entire development of this movie that I didn't really care. We had so many adaptations of the Ninja Turtles and not one, other than the 2003 series, has even closely resembled the original source material. There was a rock tour. Like, this is nothing. In every adaptation that we've had, the backstory is different, the characters are different, the plot is very different. I mean, look at all the versions of April O'Neil that we've had. I kept thinking to myself, I didn't care if there was an explosion in every scene. Why would you not want that? I didn't care that Megan Fox was April O'Neil. I didn't care that they somewhat resembled Shrek. The one thing I cared about is I wanted to go to the theater and watch a movie about my Ninja Turtles. I'm a really bad film critic because I like everything, but this was so good. They got their characters like spot on, so that's all I really was worried about. So to me, it was pretty much perfect. But it wasn't perfect. I'm just gonna get the crummy stuff off my chest right off the bat. First things first, there is no Casey Jones. I'm going to assume that there's going to be a sequel and he's going to be in that. And I'm not saying that it didn't work perfectly without Casey Jones. It worked perfectly without Casey Jones. I'm just saying, Casey Jones fans, don't get too excited. We get this new character called Sax, who's an evil scientist that works for TCRI. Now this is a very little thing. His personality could have been exactly the same. His plot line could have been exactly the same. He could have done everything exactly the same. But my excitement level probably would have gone from like here to here if the only change in his character was his name was Baxter Stockman. The film could have been exactly the way it was, but just with a little name change would have added just a little more nostalgia. A little nostalgia boner. Nostalgia is defined as a sentimental longing or affection for the past. For example, my favorite adaptation, Scooby-Doo, managed to keep the feel and mood of the original show and the original characters while still adapting it successfully to the modern day screen. And then there's the Dragon Ball movie. Basically, in adaptation, nostalgia is a very crucial element. You are adapting something that has a very special place in your audience's heart, and your audience is going to the theater in the hope of in the hope of linking themselves to that very special place in their timeline. Now, I'm not a film genius. I'm just a film detective. So they probably made this choice intentionally for some reason. Maybe they felt that the personality between Baxter Stockman and Sax was too different to make it one character. All I'm saying is that it would have added a little like in my excitement level. Just a little. Here we go with the Lean Green Ninja Team. On the scene, cool teens doing ninja things. So extreme like the sewer lock laser beam. Get rocked with the shell shock pizza king. Now we get to the big issues. The Turtles felt like secondary characters. Not minor characters, but secondary characters when I really wanted them to be the protagonists. The protagonist is the main character in a story, the character who the plot often follows, while secondary characters are simply branches of that main character, oftentimes the sidekick to the protagonist. Technically in this film, the protagonist was April O'Neil, because we followed her. In the beginning of this movie, I often felt like I was just waiting for the turtles to show up. Most of the first third of the film was April O'Neil. We do get a really cool comic book style montage in the beginning of the film where we see glances of the turtles. They're actually being fruit ninjas. Like, they're slicing fruit with their swords and CDs for some reason. I'm not questioning it. Anyway, but the first time we see the turtles is like a crazy cool fight scene with the Foot Clan, who by the way are like gangsters. I'm okay with that. I guess they just combined the Foot Clan and the Purple Dragons to make like one evil-doing nincompoop society. Also, they have like super strength. Like, how cool is that? Anyway, what was I talking about? The first and only time for the entirety of the first part of the film, we see a silhouette of one of the turtles. And then again, we get nothing for quite some time other than April O'Neil trying to do some journalistic stuff to do with the Foot Clan. Journalistic! Don! Shush! That's my dog, Donatello. But he's not my favorite or anything. Now I understand what they were trying to go for here. And what they were trying to go for here is suspense. A state or feeling of excitement or anxiousness leading up to an event. I'm literally just wearing these glasses to make me seem smarter. Is it working? The perfect example of suspense is in a horror movie where you know that the crazy psycho murderer serial killer is behind the one lady, but the lady doesn't know it, and you're just like, no, lady, don't go in the basement. You know something is gonna happen, but it's leading up to, will it happen? Will it happen? Will it happen? Will it happen? It happened, because that's what happens in horror movies. In Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they were trying to lead up to the big turtle reveal. But the way suspense is supposed to work is it's supposed to continually and gradually grow. Whereas this is my visual representation of the big turtle reveal suspense. Beep, 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 beep. And I mean, the big was amazing. It was so good. That was the first time I cried. I cried 3 times. I'm an adult! But the writing gave us enough time to die down from the excitement, so a lot of the movie was just... You know it's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Yeah? Okay, just letting you know. And I mean, again, I didn't really care about this because this version of April O'Neil might be my favorite. I was very afraid that they were just going to have her be a pretty face. Because in the trailers, she doesn't really say much. She just kind of stands there looking like... But Megan Fox did an amazing job, which is phenomenal because I read an interview with her and she was pregnant during the filming of this, and she said a lot of the times she was just trying not to throw up. There was just one scene where she was seeing Splinter for the first time, and I understand. This poor actress is probably working off nothing. Like, literally nothing. They were just gonna add Splinter in post. She's probably just staring at nothing being like, I don't understand. It's hard. I get it. To sum up her character, in one of the scenes, the turtles are doing their kick butt ninja stuff. April O'Neil, who was originally just like hiding behind a couch, freaking just picks up a sign and stabs Shredder in the back. Giant Robo Shredder. April O'Neil, just stop. She's just really cool. I'm so glad that she wasn't just a pretty face just sitting on the sidelines, which is why I can forgive her getting more screen time than the turtles. However, people are going there expecting to see a film about the turtles, so maybe when you make the next movie, try to include a bit more of them, so they don't feel like April O'Neil sidekicks. All these things, I can forgive. I enjoyed the movie, despite all of these things, but there was one thing. There's one thing that left a very sour taste in my mouth. In all of their adaptations we get, Splinter already knew ninjutsu. Whether he was the human Yoshi that was turned into a rat, or he was Yoshi's rat that learned ninjutsu from him, he already has some sort of preconceived knowledge of ninjutsu that took him years to learn. In this version, Splinter learns ninjutsu out of what looks like a coloring book that he finds in the sewer. Yeah. Like, the name of the book was The Art of Ninjutsu. It had like little figurine poses in it. Like, you know that waterbending scroll that Team Avatar finds in that one episode? It looked like that. I just really wanted, like in their first fight scene, for the turtles to just be like, oh crap, we've just been learning yoga poses this entire time. We don't actually know ninjutsu. Ah. Now I understand there's a little thing called suspension of disbelief. Suspension of disbelief is a term coined in 1817 by the poet and aesthetic philosopher Samuel Taylor Coleridge. It basically means that in order to watch any sort of fictional movie, you have to suspend your idea of logic and truth. In order to enjoy any sort of movie that has fantasy elements, you have to believe that it could actually happen. Basically, you can't watch Back to the Future if you're like, that's stupid. Time travel will never exist. Suspension of disbelief means stretching your idea of logic and fitting time travel somewhere in there. So when it comes to suspension of disbelief, I can believe that 4 giant mutant turtles can live in the sewers and learn ninjutsu from a rat. But for some reason, Splinter learning an ancient Japanese art from a ninjutsu for dummies that he finds in the sewer, I can't even, girl, I can't even. And I think the reason behind this is it didn't have to be that way. The Baxter Stockman that wasn't Baxter Stockman, who had Splinter and the Turtles mutated because he worked for TCRI, was actually from Japan. So would it not be plausible that the Baxter Stockman that's not Baxter Stockman just took Splinter from Japan, where perhaps he learned ninjutsu from a man named Yoshi, and then brought him to TCRI? That totally could have happened. But nah. And I mean, like, if there was a book called The Art of Ninjutsu that I could learn how to be a ninja from, pretty sure I would be a ninja by now. Okay, my negative rant is done. Now we're gonna talk about the good stuff. Okay, probably the best thing is there was no unnecessary love story. At the end of the movie, you think there's gonna be. Because we got the classic, Vern's leaning against his new car. He's like, hey, what's up, April? And she's walking over like, hey, we just saved the day. And I was watching this and I'm like, what? No. You're not Casey Jones. Wait, stop. No. Just when you think they go on a date or something, friggin' turtles roll up in the shell raiser and they're just like, hey, the real plot's arrived. And there's no unnecessary love story. This makes me so happy. Which leads me to my next fantastic thing. None of the women were objectified. Objectification in film is when a person is seen less as a character and more as an object. In a lot of action movies, some characters, mostly women, are seen more as ornamental than actually characters involved in the plot. For an example, Megan Fox in Transformers 2. No one would paint a motorcycle like this. Putting her in this uncomfortable pose used to show off her body instead of showing off what people would usually do to paint a motorcycle shows less of her character and more of her physical appearance. Now there were some scenes in the movie where Vern was being like pervy to Megan Fox and looking at her butt and stuff. But that shows something about his character because he's kind of a perv. And she was too busy kicking butt and being crucial to the plot to notice. Plus, I mean, Megan Fox, her booty is fine. Okay, let's call a spade a spade. But also, they have Karai. When I heard that Karai was gonna be in this movie, I flipped out. When I first saw Karai, I flipped out even more. The woman who played Karai, Mine Nojai, I'm butchering your name. I'm so sorry. She was born in 1973, which makes her 41. We have a middle-aged woman in an important and meaningful role in an action movie. Which made it so much more believable for me. Because I looked at her and I saw a warrior. And this woman's acting. Oh my, she had like 5 lines. And each one was just perfect and said so much more than the words she was saying. Just, okay, this is just a little thing that's really close to my heart and made me cry for the second time. In a lot of the Turtle in a lot of the Turtle TV shows, the Turtles mainly call Splinter Sensei and Master. Which I never got, because he was always kind of their dad first. I mean, I don't call my father food maker. And I mean, that there will be these like really rare dramatic moments where they're just like, father. But even that is very formal. There's this one scene where Splinter's in trouble and everybody's like, Sensei, and Leonardo just goes, Dad! And my heart dropped. My heart sank. So whoever made that decision, I both love and hate you. because that made my stomach drop, and I realized they think this might be the last time that they ever see their sensei. My anxiousness in that scene went from here to like above the roof. Oh my god. I cried a lot. Back to the nostalgia thing, there were a lot of references to other adaptations of the Turtles. Like April O'Neil's costume, which was a really cute yellow leather jacket, which closely resembles April O'Neil's original pantsuit? Suit? She wears short skirts, I wear suits. Her news reporting onesie. Let's call it that. Something I was kind of worried about is because the Foot Clan are gangsters and not ninjas, was they all have guns, and I was really scared that the fight scenes were going to suffer because of that. Nah, we get some kick butt ninja action. So good. Robo Shredder was awesome. I mean, like, he had knives everywhere and like, oh, he was so cool. And to the people who are complaining about Robo Shredder, it's technically kind of canon. Now, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's kind of canon. Also, major spoiler here. Click this if you want to skip it. But in the very end, he's like stabbed in the chest and like stabbed, I think it was like the neck or something. He's stabbed in places people shouldn't be stabbed. But he's like still moving after that. So in my mind, I'm just like, sequel? Utrom Shredder? A girl can dream. I know a lot of fans were very worried about Donnie's nerd glasses. Like, he has like the stereotypical big glasses, like tape in the middle. And I'm just preparing you. I just want you to be ready, because I wasn't ready. That's why I cried 3 times. Donatello's nerdiness is very exaggerated. Like, he has the big nerd glasses. In one scene, he does like a little snort laugh. But like I've said before, I'm genuinely just a very happy person. It's very hard to make me upset. I found it adorable. It was so funny. I'm just preparing you for those of you that are far more critical of films than me. Donnie's a total dork. Also, there were a lot of pop culture references, which I personally enjoy, and I understand apparently pop culture references are the weakest form of comedy, but they still make me laugh, so I don't really care. Now again, this is just my opinion, and by the time I film and edit this, the movie's probably already gonna be out. So right here, I'm gonna place some annotations for other reviews of this film. Whoa! Annotations! Cowabunga! Pizza Dude! Booyakasha! Goongala! Thank you very much for watching my review, and I really hope you enjoy the movie. Bye-bye! Momo Bryan, film detective. Momo Bryan, film detective. Momo Bryan, film detective. TMNT review, or whatever. Like, high five, Megan Fox. That was for you, and that wasn't a slap in the face. That was a high five. It's just really hard to portray that over a YouTube video. But it's okay. You're great. You're just really pretty, okay? Shut up. By the poet and aesthetic philosopher. I can't say it! Taco salad break. When people complain about like crazy Robo Shredder that has all these dude gadgets and gizmos on his body, like go Shredder knives. It just reminds me of this one panel that they had for the web series Ruby, where this one chick gets up to ask a question and she's just like, excuse me, is there any weapon in this series that isn't going to double as a gun? And then the one guy in the panel just leans over, he's like, why would you want that? But she was born in 19... Can we just take a second? Can we just bask in it? A moment of silence for the last airbender.